Hello, Digimon Tamers, and Merry Christmas to you. Happy Holidays. We have been gone away for a while, but we have been playing Digimon, and we bring to you today our tournament winning, undefeated Blue Flare Greymon deck. Yes, that's right. Greymon players rejoice. We finally have another color we can take over all for our own. So, anyways, I've definitely played around with a few different versions of this, and I think I've kind of narrowed it down to my definitive version. And so far, it is pretty undefeated. We won a couple of our local tournaments here. Has really great matchups. He plays really strong and very budget friendly. So let's get into it. So for our main egg, we are running 4 copies of Bebydomon. Bebydomon is our level 2. It has a when attacking inheritable once per turn. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, draw 1 card. To kind of go with this, we have 1 copy of the BT1 Upamon. Upamon is if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, draw 1 card. Upamon probably triggers a lot more than the Bebydomons, so if you have more Upamon, definitely run more of that. But I do like to run 5 eggs in this because we go through a lot of level 3s, and I've definitely run out before. But in general, our eggs, the whole point of them is getting the draw power, so whatever triggers you run, just make sure you're getting that draw when you attack. Our main level 3 here is Gaossmon. Gaossmon is our first Blue Flare, level 3, currently the only one. It is a 3 play cost, 1k DP. On deletion, you may play 1 level 4 Digimon card with Blue Flare and its traits from your hand suspended without its play cost. Very important in this deck. We definitely rush these guys out. I'll even hard play 2 of them straight from my hand just to get set up for next turn if possible. All other current level 3s right now are just support. We are running 4 copies of ModokiBetamon. ModokiBetamon is our memory blocker. While your opponent on all turns, your opponent cannot gain memory except with tamer effects. So this can help versus rival Blue Flare. This can help against Alphamon. This can help against Bloomlord. Speaking of Bloomlord, that leads me to my 2 tech copies of Syakomon. Your opponent cannot reduce Digivolution costs on their turn. This helps with Bloomlord. They can't use Blossomon or a lot of their other Digisorption techniques to get to that Turbo Evolve. So if you have both a Modoki and a Syakomon on board, they're going to need to deal with those before they can really flood the board. And I also run this 2 copies of the BT9 Jellymon. BT9 Jellymon is more for the inheritable than the main effect. Main effect, when you play a blue tamer, draw a card, which is pretty cool. Or inheritable, when an effect adds a card to your hand, which is what our eggs are for. You may bounce a level 3 Digimon, and this is mainly here for bouncing cards that stop us from activating the Digicross or reducing play cost effects. Doesn't come up too often though, but in case it does, we do have 2 there. Now level 4s are the name of the game, and we generally hard play these a lot. We have 4 copies of the BT10 Greymon. This is the new Blue Flare Greymon. On play, you may reveal top 4 cards of your deck, add 2 cards with Blue Flare traits in them among them to your hand, and then put them to the bottom. If we have a tamer in play, we may instead grab a MetalGreymon from our trash back to our hand. The tamer being Kiria or Chris, depending on the translations we're talking about. Inheritable, while this Digimon has Blue Flare in its names, your opponent has 2 Digimon in play. You may unsuspend this Digimon when attacking once per turn. This, of course, goes very nicely with Mailbirdramon. Mailbirdramon is our second Blue Flare level 4, BT10. On play, you may play Kiriha if you don't already have one from your hand, or if you do have a Kiriha, you may return a MetalGreymon from trash to your hand. And all these have on deletion save, which allows you to put them underneath tamers. We'll get more into that later. And then if your Digimon has Blue Flare in its traits and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, you may stun one of your Digimon. If you're not familiar with Digimon terminology, stun is your opponent's Digimon may not attack or block until the end of their next turn, allowing us to get through blockers and avoid counterattacking. Our last level 4, we're running 4 copies of Deckerdramon. On play, draw 1 card. Then if for each Digimon your opponent hasn't played, draw 1 card. So late game, Deckerdramon can have some really massive draw power. And he has on deletion save as well. He is inheritable all turns while your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play. This Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. And for our support 4s, we're running 2 copies of Red Greymon from Starter Deck 1. This inheritable gives security attack +1 regardless of anything else. This goes really well with Digicross mechanics, and we'll kind of get into why in a minute. And then we're also playing 2 copies of Kumamon. We play a lot of tamers in this, so having a hybrid is pretty nice. You may Digivolve this card onto your hand onto a blue tamer as if it was level 3 Digimon. When Digivolving, trash 1 Digivolution card from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Now our main boss monster here, we are running 4 copies of the new BT10 MetalGreymon. MetalGreymon is a 7, play cost 4 to evolve, although why would you ever evolve it? It has material save 2, so if this Digimon is deleted, we may play 2 sources from underneath it, underneath a tamer. Unplay, this Digimon gains Rush, and if Digicrossing, you may stun up to 3 Digimon who have inherited or have sources equal to or less than this Digimon. Now, let's get into what Digicross is. Digicross is a new mechanic introduced in BT10, where you may hard play a Digimon and reduce its play cost by putting the matching pieces underneath. You may play 1 of each Digimon listed in the Digicross listing. So for MetalGreymon, we may play 1 Greymon and 1 Mailbirdramon underneath this MetalGreymon. This can come from either on the field, from our hands, or from a tamer if we have the appropriate tamer, allowing us to reduce MetalGreymon's play cost from 7 to 3, and he'll have Rush so he can immediately begin swinging. This will be paired up with his companion card, DeckerGreymon. DeckerGreymon has a Digivolve on top of a level 4 for 4, on top of a level 5 for 2, so we can put it on top of that MetalGreymon, which is preferred. He has Armor Purge, so if something would delete him, we may de-Digivolve him down to the next card to prevent deletion. On play, or when Digivolving, you may play 1 Blue Flare card from your hand underneath this Digimon, and then if there is a Deckerdramon in his stack, then we may stun any Digimon. He also has a Digicross if we wish to play him, reducing 2 play costs for each source. His sources would be MetalGreymon and Deckerdramon, allowing us to reduce from a 9 play cost down to a 5 play cost. He does not have Rush, however, but he's good for an emergency stun if you need it. The companion level 5, we're putting in 2 copies of Cyberdramon. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Cyberdramon is used only for his hand effect. Hand main, if you have a Digimon Blue Flare in its traits in play, by paying 3 memory, you may place this card under one of your Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. Then unsuspend that Digimon. It is inheritable if you have 2 more Digimon in play, or your opponent has 2 more Digimon in play. This Digimon gains plus 1000 DP. Wonderful for extra last swings. For our tamers, we of course have to run 4 of the Blue Flare tamer Kiriha, or Christopher, depending on your translation localization. He is thankfully a memory setter, so if we have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3 at the start of your turn. And then if you would play a Digimon with Digicross requirements, by suspending this tamer, you may use Digimon from underneath your tamers as Digicross material. We will supply this also with 1 copy of Sorajo. If your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolution cards, gain 2 memory. And then when a blue Digimon attacks, we may suspend this tamer to strip the bottom 2 sources from underneath a Digimon, helping us get to that memory gain as well, and keep sources low so MetalGreymon can stun them. And then we also run 1 copy of Tommy, only 1 copy legal currently. On play, trash 3 Digivolution sources underneath 1 Digimon, and then his inheritable until the end of your opponent's next turn. One of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution sources can't attack or block when attacking, just helping us really supplement that stun. And finally, for our options, we are running 3 copies of Blazing Memory Boost. You'll see a lot of people run 4, and I don't really have a problem with that, but I'm just a little particular to 3. It's a 5 play cost, but man, it's a doozy of effects if you can get it off. You reveal a top 6 cards of your decks. Add 2 cards with Blue Flare among them to your hand. And then after you do that, if there is a Tamer Kiriha remaining, you may play that Tamer for free. So we get 2 Blue Flare cards to our hand, a memory setting Tamer hopefully to the field, and then this card stays on the field like all other memory boosts that we may use later to gain 2 memory. So for 5 memory, you're potentially getting a lot of things. Even if you don't hit the Tamer, which the Tamer is definitely the sweet spot, we are at least getting 2 cards to our hand and 2 memory to play with later, which really helps set up to playing another Blazing Memory Boost if you need to. Whatever it takes to get to that Tamer. For our removal, we are running 2 copies of Rattlestar because the name of the game is keeping as many of our opponent's Digimon on the field as possible. Sometimes they do get 3 or more Digimon on the field. From hand, 5 memory, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to their hand. If your opponent has 3 or more Digimon in play, return any one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck instead. So really good for trying to clear the board if there's just one Digimon you can't stun. If there's a Digimon causing you problems, if it's hidden security and wins you game that way, it's definitely been putting in the work. Shout out to Craig for recommending this card over some other ones I was playing. Rattlestar has definitely made all the difference. And then our last 2 supplement cards, we are running Forbidden Trident. It is a 1 cost, adds plus 2000 DP to a Digimon, and bounces a level 3 to hand. We use that to bounce any memory correctors or play cost reduced blockers that are giving us problems. And then a 1 copy of Icewall, or 1 legal copy. For 1 memory, all your opponent's Digimon, when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of next turn. So it's good if we need to stall. Opponent loses 2 memory if it's hit in security, which is pretty nice. So let's talk strategy. Almost always, the only evolving we will ever be doing will be going into a level 3 Digimon. Gaossmon is preferred. We can also hard play Gaossmon. I like to definitely hard play a couple of Gaossmons if we're playing against decks with strong deletion, because I want them to delete Gaossmon for me. To be very kind of them. We move our Gaossmons up and start just throwing them at security. You know, we want to get those early security checks. He will likely die, and if he dies, then we're playing our level 4s from hand. We could play Greymon to do some searching. We can play Mailbirdramon to play the free tamer. We can play Deckerdramon to do some really massive searching late game. Or either of these 2 will grab MetalGreymon if we have the tamer ready and we're searching for another metal. Aside from that, I will almost never evolve into these guys. It is definitely preferred to hard play them. 4 cost, 5 play cost. They're not too terrible. You definitely want to be spending the memory in this game because what you get out of them can sometimes just be that much better. And we're not too worried about them being deleted because once they do get deleted, we have to material save. They go underneath our tamers and allowing us to play the MetalGreymon, of course. MetalGreymon allowing us to take Mailbirdramon and Greymon. And that's the wonderful thing. It's by name. So it can either be Blue Greymon if we want 2 attacks, or it could be Red Greymon if we want 1 attack with security attack plus 1. And there's a nice double combo we'll get into later. But we want our tamer, of course. Curia is massively important, using Blazing Memory Boost to either get the tamer on the field for free or to do the big time searching, keep the memory later. Once you get a couple of these on board, you're sitting pretty well for memory later. Once you get MetalGreymon out, you of course want to evolve it into DeckerGreymon. This gives it armor purge that they'll have to get through before we even get to the material save part. Gives them 10k DP working with. We can put another Digimon underneath him, and now he's a much stronger threat and a lot more annoying to get rid of. And we can combine things with Cyberdramon to allow our Digimon to attack 2 or 3 times in a turn, which is really strong. Now, if you want to get real aggressive, a nice combo you can do, because of the way the wording is, when we have the MetalGreymon, take Red Greymon and the Mailbirdramon. Have that be the combo, right? And so that will take up the 3 memory that you got from the Curia. Pop your Blue Mazinger Boost to gain another 2 memory and evolve into DeckerGreymon for 2, putting us to 0. Now, you can put a blue flare underneath, but it does not have to be Deckerdramon. It does if you want the stun. But if instead you want to be aggressive, take Blue Greymon, because there's nothing saying it can't be any blue flare. Take the Greymon, put it underneath here. Now we have a much more aggressive stack. We are giving up the stun that comes with Deckerdramon in favor of having a Digimon that checks 2 security for 2 swings. And he's got the armor purge, so he's at least getting through 2 of those checks. DeckerGreymon is going to be checking for 4 security. And then you could even just unsuspend it if you wanted to. If you even had the memory, you can just do that. And then for finishing it off with all of the tamers we have on the field, hybrid for game is never out of the question. So this has had amazing matchups and a lot of things. I've walked over every Syakomon player I've played, both before and after the ban. Black War can be pretty tricky. You definitely have to play around the tamer deletion, so try to psych them out with it. If you can get them to evolve into the Black War, even if you lose a tamer, have a backup plan ready to go because of how costly Black War is memory wise. You are almost always assured that they're not going to pop it again the very next turn. Plus, their tamers are 4 cost, so they won't be able to delete 2 of them, which is nice. In regards to Examon, we have a great matchup against Examon because he can't do most of his effects because we play from hand. We don't move anything up from raising. And I've had pretty good turnouts against Dark Knight and Bagra. Definitely the toughest matchup is definitely against Bloomlord, but that's why we run the Modoki and the Syako. As long as we can get through the security before they have time, and those cards are definite need to start delaying them, we could start the stun loop, and we can start getting through security, hopefully faster than they get through our security. But hey, that's my deck. That's what I've been playing the last few weeks, and it's been doing real wonderful. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you've been playing this set, how you've been enjoying it. And y'all have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas. I'll see you guys next time.